yeah, back to this thing with the teenagers in foster care, you know, some of the, whatever the reasons are that lead them to run away, and it's obvious to me that, you know, the ministry isn't dealing with those reasons and trying to help out in that way, because they're ending up at the food bank, they're ending up sleeping out on the sidewalk, you know, and needing things that they just can't get. I mean, that young girl that came in, it was feminine hygiene products that she needed. You know, like, where is the government of Canada? Where are the people of British Columbia when we have, you know, 14 and 16-year-old girls sleeping on the street? It's pathetic to me. And then, you know, we don't have to really question why the suicide rates in foster children are so high when this is how they're forced to live. You know, and when you've got a 16-year-old living in a dungeon with lots of scary people around, I mean, how much hope can she have that everything's going to be okay? You know, and then depression is just...
one thing could set them off.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, just, you know, how hard it is for an adult to have to wake up outside and have no food and feel hunger pangs. It's, you know, that much worse for a teenager who at that time their emotions are so heightened and, you know, they're hyper alert to everything, you know, and here they are just stranded with nobody. The fact that these young kids end up out on the street too is part of the reason for the drug addiction that comes along with being in foster care as well. You know, they're out there on the street, and the other people that they're around are probably using, you know, and it's just around them, it's just normal, and then they try it and it takes away, relieves some anxiety, relieves some stress, and there you go, you know, one more child on drugs. So...
and they might not even have had drugs before they were in foster care, is that true?
That's true, or they may have been, you know, there's different situations. They may have been, you know, they may have came from a home where drugs were used as well. But still, that doesn't mean that they would be using it, you know, like...
well, what are the statistics on ministry giving children drugs?
Well, we know that I think that the rate of children on Ritalin type drugs is about 12 times that, 10 to 12 times that of children in the regular population. And
65%
are diagnosed with mental illness, but I mean, they get... I already said that, you know, last week, that they even get a higher rate of painkillers, you know, anti-anxiety medications, antidepressant medications. They get higher all of that, you know.
And the foster parent gets more money if they're diagnosed with that.
Right. They do.
And so, in actual fact, the child may not even have had drugs before they entered the ministry's care.
No, a lot of kids get put on drugs after they become foster children, but I don't know, there's probably different reasons for, or they probably use different reasons at different ages. You know, like a younger child is going to suffer from separation anxiety. You know, it could be severe, you know, but their behavior is going to change. And then the older child, the teenagers that, you know, had, you know, their one understanding of what life was about, you know, turned totally upside down. They're, you know, in the midst of trying to collect friends and learn about socialization, and all of a sudden they got to live with strangers, so they're running away from it, and they're learning about the streets and all kinds of things that they shouldn't have to
experience.
Yeah, and the whole time that, you know, even if they run away, you know, say they run away 2-3 times and the ministry just, you know, stops looking for them or whatever, they still keep an open file until the child's 19 and collect on that child that's out there. So, and I mean, then again, in some cases,
well, it's too bad. It's too bad the child wouldn't get that lump sum when they were found. You know, it'd be a good start to a new life after the ministry's care.
And there's some problems with the youth agreements too, because if a child grows up with a youth agreement, I know one girl who was in foster care until she was 19, and then had 3 children of her own, and then when she went to court they apprehended her children basically based on the fact that how could she possibly know how to parent when she'd never been in a proper home, that she'd always been in the care of the government. So I've heard that a couple of
openly
times.
admitting that they're not even good enough parents
Well,
or care providers.
they're just saying that, how can a foster child know anything about proper family dynamics? Well, I know in some cases that home isn't the right place for a child, but, I'd say that, 99% of the time with a little bit of help, aside from physical and sexual abuse, obviously, and emotional abuse, like, aside from severe abuse, a family can just need a little bit of help.
It's the point, families aren't getting help. I'm hearing stories of families where the children are basically being ripped from the parents' feet, screaming and kicking that they want to be with their parents, and the ministry are just compassionate.
Yeah, in
No
my
sensitivity.
case, in my case, the kids were screaming, crying, "I want my mommy!" And so in court, I hear the social worker saying, "Well, we believe these children are, too bonded to their mother."
Too bonded to their mother.
And now they don't talk to me at all. I called my.
What about manipulation to the children and the way children are being brainwashed by these social workers to discredit their parents and to turn against their parents so that they'll stay in care?
I called my son this week, and he said to me that he found a document. He thought it was a court document, but it was a document written up by the social workers, and it said that I called him a little fucking bastard and that I didn't want him. So, can't remember if he called me or I called him, but here we are on the phone going, "No, I never said that. I do love you. I do love you." And getting back, "No, I hate you, you crazy C word. You did say it, court documents, don't lie." And I'm just fighting back my tears so that he can't hear my upset, in my voice, or hear that I'm upset. And it's just unbelievable what social workers can do to a family. They're not even in the care of the ministry anymore. And yet here I am, 4.5 years after they've been apprehended, fighting with my own son about whether I love him or not because of a comment a social worker got wrong. And of course, there's hundreds of stories out there of how social workers convince children that their parents are, not